This weekend in Florida, the who's who of the right and far right will be gathered in Central Florida for CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. For years, this event stood alone as an agenda setter for Republicans. But this year, for the first time, it'll face some counter-programming from other Republicans. More moderate Republicans frustrated with what they see as the radicalization of the GOP and who hope to take the party back. As we have discussed on this show before, there is evidence mounting that a significant faction of Republicans are ready to hear that message. Now, CPAC has become pretty wacky. The 4-day event run by American Conservative Union Chair Matt Schlapp had long been a major event for conservative thought leaders to exchange ideas and shape the direction of the Republican Party. All types of Republicans are welcomed and even embraced. Mitt Romney, who's now persona non grata in the far right, gave a major address at the conference in 2012 and even won a straw poll among attendees for their preferred choice for president. But now, just 10 years later, the overall message at the 4-day event has become increasingly more extreme. Some of the items on the agenda for this week's conference: House members Darrell Issa, Mike Kelly, Lauren Boebert will sit for a panel discussion titled, quote, "The Moron in Chief," an obvious reference to President Joe Biden. 3 sitting members of Congress are participating in that forum, with the U.S. hip-deep in a foreign conflict. Now, you can think he's a moron, but the title and guests would certainly suggest it's not going to be a particularly substantive conversation. Then there's a forum titled All the News the Left Permits, good name, and a discussion ostensibly designed to address accuracy and gatekeeping in media. Among the notables sitting on this panel, the distinguished media expert Papa John Schnatter. Yes, Papa John himself, as well as COVID truther Alex Berenson. And what would a major event like this be without lots of focus on, of course, Hillary Clinton? There are not 1, but 2 panels targeting the 2016 Democratic presidential candidate. The first session on Saturday morning is titled, "Put Him to Bed, Lock Her Up, and Send Her to the Border." In case the message wasn't clear enough, there's a separate session later in the day called "Lock Her Up for Real." Former President Donald Trump has addressed the gathering annually since 2017 and will again this weekend. CPAC has taken on a decidedly Trumpian tone, and Mitt Romney, who was once celebrated there, has been banned altogether. Let me be clear, CPAC used to be a significant thing. But now it's become 4 days for extremists to basically own the libs. Important discussions used to reverberate far beyond the conferences. And now CPAC attendees are basically talking to themselves and riling up the audience. And so a group of GOP moderates has come along to put on their own event at the same time at a different venue. Titled the Principles First Summit, the 2-day gathering in Washington will feature speakers including Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Alex Vindman, Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn. Now, almost every one of those people would have been welcomed and probably embraced at CPAC 10 years ago. Now they're a who's who of the most despised people in the GOP universe. Joining us now is Heath Mayo. He's an attorney and the Republican activist who organized this Principles First Summit. Heath, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. How much interest is there in your competing event? You know that the people who support CPAC are going to be saying, this is a little fly. We just got to wave away. It's irrelevant.
Right. Dan, thanks for having me on. I mean, we're excited. I mean, for the first time in a long time, if you're a conservative out there, a principled conservative, it's been a rough couple of years in the party. But I got to tell you, I'm excited about this weekend. We're sold out. We're going to be at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. And I think people are, they're just looking for a sense of community. I think there's a lot of people out there who look at the principled leadership from people like Liz Cheney, like Adam Kinzinger, standing up for things like the Constitution, the rule of law, things that conservatives have sort of long believed in. They see them standing up and they want to show support. They want to come together. And that's what this weekend is all about. It's about celebrating those types of principled stands that those folks have been making.
I looked through the agenda for the conference and saw that some of the topics, should we stay or should we go? And how do we combat inflation? Stands in pretty stark contrast to what's happening in Florida. But when you say, should we stay or should we go, it sounds like what you're asking is, should we leave the Republican Party?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're asking. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, we're less about the partisan politics of this than we are about the principles. We think the discussion should start at the principles, and then what you do politically comes from that. And when you look at CPAC, I mean, you read through those panels. You can't discern a single conservative principle. I would challenge every conservative out there that's watching this to look at the speakers, look at the panels, and ask yourself, try to find one conservative principle in that whole summit. I mean, you'll find the golden statues of folks. You'll find, as you mentioned, the Papa John Pizza Man, but you will not find conservatism. And so that's what our conference is about. We're about getting back to our ideas, getting back to principles. We're not all going to agree, right? But the people in our room are sort of unafraid to take a stand and to disagree and to talk about these ideas and figure out where we're going to go as a country. We got to start looking forward, not looking back about, was the election rigged? Was it stolen? I mean, come on. We got to get over that. We got to move forward and start talking about what it is we believe in. I mean, the GOP doesn't even have a platform right now. It just has a series of personalities that folks fall in line behind, and that's just not the Republican Party that any of us, at least at the Principles First Summit, knows.
But how much support do you think that you have broadly? Forget about the fact you sold out a small venue, et cetera. On a sort of national level, the movement you're talking about, you read the polls, and yes, there's been some movement away from Donald Trump, but he's still the dominant figure in the Republican Party. And you know that he and others who support him would, again, just call you guys rhinos and say that you're sort of irrelevant. What makes you think that the message you're talking about is resonating and is relevant in the national discussion?
Well, I can only speak for what I'm seeing and what we're doing. I mean, we're a completely volunteer organization. Our tickets are $35. CPAC's tickets are $300. We got people coming from 40 different states all across the country. Nobody makes a dime off of what we're doing. This is truly a sort of, sweat, tears, passion type of enterprise. And to have that type of energy in the room, look, that's how movements start. We're not in the sort of poll watching business. We're in the business of changing the polls, right? Movements, great political movements don't start leading the polls, right? Martin Luther King, when he was, going around the South preaching during the Civil Rights Movement, his ideas weren't popular at the time, but it takes leaders like that to stand up, committed to principle, that convince people to follow them and change the polls. Not enough Republicans think that way. And that's what I hope folks will start thinking about at the Principles First Summit this weekend.
And hey,
maybe change people's mind.
Maybe the bottom line is people said, $300 versus $35. This one sounds like a better deal.
That too.
Heath Mayo, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.